Hello and welcome. I am thrilled to be able to present to you one of the world's most progressive, creative hairstylists out there right now. He has worked with designers such as Alexander McQueen, Chanel, Prada, Yohji Yamamoto, the list goes on.
John Galliano.
John
Galliano, come on.
Sorry there.
JG.
He's worked with publications such as Vogue, ID and Harper's Bazaar. He has been at the heartbeat of fashion for the last 2 decades. Welcome to the show, Eugene.
Thank you.
Finally, we're here.
We're here.
My good God, this took a little while to get going, but...
All the best things do.
They do indeed.
They do.
They do indeed. Thank you so much anyway for today.
My pleasure.
Do you know what? And I'm going to thank for everybody at home as well. They are so thrilled to possibly get the opportunity to watch you. It's going to be amazing this afternoon. I can't wait. But
I'm going to try my best.
You're going to try your best.
Yes.
I've been watching everything going on this morning, and my good God, you're in for a treat later on, everybody. It's going to be amazing. I mean, the whole team is backstage working there and prepping all your stuff, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. I can't wait. It's like a fashion show backstage here. Listen, tell us a little bit about you, a little bit about your background that people may not know about you as well.
I guess I probably started off life when I was a kid. I wasn't particularly studious. I'm not academic.
You're a creative.
I'm a creative, yes, there you go. I'm a visual person. Yeah. So I left school wanting to be an artist, and I went to Goldsmiths College. But at that time, whilst I was going to Goldsmiths College, I was in a band, I was in a punk band.
We're in a punk band.
I was in a punk band, yes, the Violators.
Not only a hairdresser, he's a musician, my good God.
Not really a good one. But anyway, the band split up. I never went to art college, so I got kicked out of art college.
Yeah. What were you doing in art college then? What,
I was doing a foundation. I wanted to be a conceptual artist.
Conceptual artist. I mean, I know you do art now, realistically, with hair and everything, but do you do any art?
Well, we try, don't we? I guess I still draw, but I got kicked out, and I really didn't have any idea what I was going to do. I had not a clue. So I went to a job centre, because they had those back in those days. Yeah. And I filled out a multiple choice questionnaire. It was like 50 questions. And the careers officer, she said to me, "You'd make a really good hairdresser."
My God.
And I said, "You what?"
They seen that in you. Or was it from the multiple choice as well?
Yeah, and she's like, "Well, you know, I can get you an apprenticeship, you can go to college." I was like, "Oh, I want to go to college, I don't want to go to work." Mm-hmm. You know, so I went to college, and I took to it like a duck to water. I think I was the only boy with kind of like about 120 girls, so I had an amazing time there.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
Yeah, I had a great time. Had a great time there. Walked away with my city and guilds in barbering, ladies hairdressing, wig making.
Wig making. They wouldn't do that.
Postiche, they called
so
it.
they used to do that back in.
Yeah, they used to do that back in the day.
Was that something extra that you did?
No, it was part of the curriculum. It was totally part of the curriculum.
Okay.
And I just loved it. I thought it was brilliant. You know. So I walked away with my city and guilds and went to work in a barber shop. And the barber shop was quite a posh barber shop, and it was in the Churchill Hotel. They had a...
Where's that? Mayfair, is it? Churchill?
Yeah, Mayfair.
Churchill.
Mayfair, and also the Grosvenor House Hotel. There was a chain of high-end barber shops. A young man called Edward. And the manageress there just took one look at me after about 3 or 4 months of working there. She said, "What are you doing here? Look at you." I mean, I'm probably still wearing the same top. What are you doing here? Yeah. You said, like, "Look, you're in the wrong place." And I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "You know, you need to work for someone that's creative, that's like you, someone that's, you know, a little bit unusual. They've got something to say, because you just don't fit in here. There's like you're like a duck out of water, Eugene." Yeah. So she made me an appointment to get my hair cut by Trevor Soulby.
Oh wow!
Right, and she said, "Just ask him for a job." just asking for a job. So I went there for my haircut. Trevor, I don't know what happened to Trevor, he wasn't there that day, and I ended up getting my hair cut by a young man called John Mifsud, and I said, you know, I'd really like a job. He's like, oh, we're actually looking for assistants, so why don't you ring in, book yourself an interview with Trevor, and take it from there. So I had my interview with Trevor, and he said to me, he said, so what do you want to do? I said, well, I'd like your job. And he started laughing. And he said, well, you know, if your chat's as good as your hair, you'll probably get the job. So,
very good.
All right,
Very
so
good.
I
You've got
passed
to
my,
talk the talk, you're going to walk the walk, are you?
I passed my test, got in there.
So yeah, how did they do that? So they put you through a vigorous test, and did they, like a few different haircuts?
Well, you have to present, I think it was like 5 or 6 models. You know, it was like haircuts, blow dries, pink curl sets, you know, a set of waves, you know, and I got in. And I at that time I didn't really understand any of it, and I became his assistant after a period of time. I worked with a guy called Stephen Moore, and then I became Trevor's assistant, and I got the most fantastic training I think anyone could ever have, because at that time in London there were 2 types of hairdressers. There was a hairdresser, and there was a hair cutter.
Right, I totally get what you mean there.
Right.
It's the dresser and dressing of hair and type of thing, right?
Now, Trevor used to work for Vidal Sassoon.
That's right, yeah.
So lucky me, I learnt to cut hair the Vidal Sassoon way.
Yeah.
I also learnt to cut hair with a razor, which was a very new thing back then.
Yeah.
And I also learnt to dress hair, to make hair big, to make waves, to put hair up.
Yeah.
So
it's a
I
massive part there in the industry, isn't it?
A massive part of that in the industry. So I've been very lucky that I've been trained
in all aspects.
In all aspects of hairdressing, you know.
A lot of your core training came
big
from
skill set.
Yeah,
you know, which is great.
We chatted about that before as well. That you have knowledge in African, Asian.
Well, I'm from South East London, so yeah, I will have knowledge on
all different types of hair type. Really.
All different hair types.
You've got the background of
cultures.
Sassoon,
Yeah. You know, so for me to work in the industry that I work in, I would say that I'm a little bit like I've got a big menu. You know, like I can braid hair, I can make hair big, I can make it wavy, I can do period hair, you know, I can cornrow, I can braid, you know, finger wave, like all of these skill sets.
Yeah. That's all kind of, I mean...
Which you draw from as a creative.
I mean,
and
that's
put me in really good stead.
It's a big part of what you do in your career, but that's all like kind of traditional training and traditional... But then again, you have this rebellious side as well, where you push it, you know, way out there.
Well, I was a punk rocker.
And
I still am, really, even though I don't have as much hair, and I'm a lot older. But I guess
you use traditional techniques and move them around and break them, I guess.
Well, I've always kind of, I guess, being a creative or going to art school, I've always had a slightly askew kind of way of looking at things and interpreting them in different ways, which I really enjoy. You know, like I loved learning the rules. I loved breaking the rules, and then I realised that if I made another set of rules, so I've had to break them again. You know, and you're constantly kind of like reinventing your mindset and growing.
But how important was it for you to learn the traditional route?
So important.
Isn't it?
And I think even when you kind of almost forget that old way of learning, there's something in you that's just innate. It's just in there. Yeah. You know, and you can do something completely anarchic, but there's a beauty to it. and there is a structure, even though it's a broken structure. There is that.
Yeah, yeah. Look, you worked in a salon for 13 years with Trevor.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And you're doing clients then?
Yeah.
You don't do
clients, seminars, shows. It's really weird because I feel like I've just kind of like gone full circle and just come back into it again with all this new knowledge, all these experiences that I've had out of the trade. And for me, what I want to do is I want to bring them back into the trade, you know, just to kind of maybe rejuvenate things. Hopefully.
What you do, I mean, your work has obviously been seen, you know, in the four corners of the world. And, you know, basically we interpret, I mean, hairdressers in the salon interpret what you've been pushing out there in fashion. So basically it gets watered down, doesn't it? To a certain extent. I mean, you've been a leader in the industry for many, many years. But I guess one of my questions is, you know, I mean, when was the going from salon to session? I mean, when was that point?
It was a very slow transition. It really was a very slow transition because when I was at Trevor's, the salon was in Covent Garden. It was a very trendy area of London.
Yeah.
And
it's still the same location, isn't it?
Yeah. No, it's not. It's a Starbucks coffee house now.
Oh, is it? Okay.
They've moved in everywhere, mate. Okay. You know, so for me, I got to meet a lot of exciting, colourful media people. I used to go clubbing like every night of the week, you know, and meet people, and they'd be like, "Oh, do you want to do a shoot for the Face on the weekend?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, sure." I really didn't understand any of it, but I just kind of fell into it because I was just interested in, you know, in fashion, and it's never really ever been a plan of mine. I've never really had this big plan. I'm going to do this to get to here. Everything has kind of evolved naturally. And I must admit, without realising it, I've taken my time. And that has been really beneficial.
We actually have a lot of time, you know, in life realistically to nurture that and progressively go through it. So
I think people now are in a real rush to get to where they want to go.
You're right there.
And I think for me, it's also a main part of it is the journey, is the experience, it's enjoying that journey, learning from that journey, and just constantly being in motion.
Yeah. It's been a journey that I've been on with Eugene over the last month, I've got to say, and it's been an amazing journey, can I just say.
I mean, I never realised where it would lead. There was really no plan. It was only like when I'd done my first Prada show, and I got flown to Milan with Pat to do the first Prada show, and we were sitting down in the Principe di Savoia, this really plush hotel, and I thought, oh my God. A little boy from Thamesmead has arrived.
Oh, nice.
No, it really was. It was like quite a bizarre experience, you know, being in an environment like that, because it was an environment that was totally alien to me. It's like an environment that I've never understood, you know, and being there, seeing all of those things, I realised that, oh, there's a future in this.
Yeah.
And you know, it's been very good to me, I must admit, you know.
Listen, can I ask you one of the big questions? I mean, you know, the Alexander McQueen shows, Lee Alexander McQueen, you know, in the early days of his shows, you were responsible for most of that hair. What was that like? It was in the 90s, wasn't it? Late 90s?
Well, you know, late 90s, everything back then was really low budget. Like literally, his mum used to come to the show with 2 loaves of Mother's Pride bread and about 10 tins of John West salmon and 3 cucumbers and, you know, 4 litres of Coke and 4 litres of lemonade, and there'd be tea and coffee, PG tips and coffee. Yeah. And that would be it. Really small, humble, creative beginnings. We were just all kids and we were just into what we were doing. Yeah. It really was a time of I guess a bit of a revolution.
But
we never realised that it was. It was just, we were just so in to what we were doing and so focused on creating something together as a team, like with Katie England, you know, and Val, and just back then it was incredible. I also used to work a lot with Colin Roy, who was another hairdresser. We used to do McQueen together. Okay. There were no egos. We were just mates doing what we loved doing for someone that we loved, and it was amazing. It was an amazing time.
It was
amazing.
Having carte blanche with hair, and you know, having that creativity, which basically lives on for decades. It's lived on forever. I mean, your work is going to live on forever. It's absolutely amazing. That is, you know, to be in that environment. You know?
Yeah, it was,
I mean, it must have been a pinch yourself moment, right? You know, doing those shows and seeing them go out there.
The funny thing is, right, when you were doing them, you were so focused on what you were doing, you never noticed anything, or I never noticed anything. For me, I think that was the beauty of it, the purity of it. You know, it was just really about doing the best that you could possibly do and stretch yourself. You know, it was a fantastic time, and you know, guys like Hussein Shalian, who was like an incredible concept designer. You know, he used to make clothes with like animatronics, and it was just like a phenomenal time. You know, and it was only when, you know, people in New York and around the world, like Prada, they were kind of, and Calvin Klein, people started taking notice of you, like really big design houses. You know, I mean, because I don't think anything would have happened for us if we'd have stayed in England. Like, I think America, for me, has played a huge influence in how I think of things, because I think of things it taught me how to think big. Mm-hmm. It really did. And it's such a tough, competitive environment. It really toughened me up and woke me up and pushed me and a lot of other people that I was working with into the limelight. And it really was a sink or swim kind of scenario. Yeah. And I'm from a council estate, and there's no way I'm going to fail. Like, no way. It's just not even an option for me.
Push yourself down, get yourself back up.
Yeah. Or
So
dodge and don't get knocked down. But you know, but for me, it really was that, and God bless America, because you know, it helped me buy my house. I met my wife there. You know, so it's been an incredible place for me. Mm-hmm. I think the world has actually been really lucky.
Because you've lived in a few different countries, haven't you?
Yes, I've lived in the States, I've lived in Paris, I've lived in Italy, I've lived in Australia.
Yeah, so
it's taken me everywhere, my job, you know, and that's another thing that I kind of love about it. I love to travel. Yeah. I really love being in very different environments. I thrive off them. I find them really interesting. They make me, they add to my creativity. You know, broaden my mind. Amazing.
Good. Listen, tell us a little bit about what you're going to be doing today.
Oh my God! Wow. So today, I'm so stoked today. Actually, before I even start about telling you about what I'm going to do, I want to tell you about the fact that we have a live audience, and I'm so excited because they're all the people in the industry that have taught me, that I've admired for many, many years, that I've tremendous respect for. They're all here. They're all going to be here, and I'm a little bit scared because I know that I've got to show them something they haven't seen before. So the pressure's on, but I'm really up for it. The show. I don't know whether you would call it a seminar, whether you would call it a soiree, whether you would call it a presentation. I don't know what you would call it. It's kind of all of those things. It's a
masterclass.
It is a masterclass. It's a step inside my head, and I'm going to showcase looks that I'm really into, how I feel about the environment that I work in, my vision of beauty. my vision of creativity, and it's going to be broken down into 3 sections. The first section will be an introductory section, and it will be looks that I've done previously, but I'm going to revisit them and add to them and change them quite considerably. But they come from
what you've done before.
What I've done before.
Yeah, and they've evolved now.
They've totally evolved.
Yeah, okay.
The second section will be a section on the process, my process. There'll be a lot of wigs.
Yeah, amazing.
We'll be talking about wigs, how I look at wigs, and it'll be a very playful section. This third section will be completely freestyle.
Amazing.
It will be seeing hair in a completely different light. I'm going to be using a lot of fabrics, things that are probably not associated with hair, and incorporating them into hairstyles to do something that will probably surprise a lot of people. I'm a little scared about this, but I think that's good, because when I get a bit scared, what I do is I go further. I never step back when I get scared. I just push it until we end up in a place that's really quite incredible. And I guess for me, the third section is really kind of more about my mindset and the relationship that I have with working at the house of Martin Margiela with John Galliano. It's quite revolutionary. It really is a very big moment in fashion history. It's a very big moment for me because it's just completely opened my mind to possibilities that I never thought were there. And I want to show them and I want to share them. I'm excited about it. I'm really excited about it.
I'm thrilled.
It's going to be nuts.
It's going to be nuts. Yeah, keep saying it, actually. I am so happy, actually. I cannot wait for this presentation this afternoon. It's going to be 12 o'clock. It's going live. So if you want to take your place, or if you haven't got your ticket already, you can go to Hairdressing Live and get your place. But do you know what, Eugene?
Sort it out.
Sort it out.
Log on.
Thank you so much, mate. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
I'm so happy to have you. And
pleasure.
On board. Great.
I won't let you down.
Brilliant. If you like what you've seen, leave a comment below and subscribe to our YouTube channel.